Hello everybody, welcome to Fruitful Trees, and we are just coming out of mango season. There's still a couple of mangoes left on the trees, but pretty much all gone. And now we're looking forward to the new fruits coming up, and we already have star fruit, and we have some adenonas, we have some sugar apples, just delicious custard, not custard apples, sugar apples. They're just wonderful. So I got some jujubes in now, that's great. But look at this, this is a mamey tree. And Mamey usually takes quite a while before it'll start fruiting. And this fruit I've had is one of the first. Now, I planted it maybe a year after I was living here. But this is a variety of a Mamey called a Viejo, or Viejo. I'll put the exact spelling below. And I didn't know about the different varieties of Mameys when I got this tree. And I didn't even pick this variety. The person that got me my trees picked it. And look what I got, my first fruit off it. And I just took a bite. And it was amazing. And I picked this off, and wow, I'm so excited about this this variety and this fruit. And there's a bunch here. These are for next year. See how much bigger this is? So this was this year's, and that's for next year's. It's already on the tree, and the tree's kind of like loaded. There's a bunch of them for next year. So that's really exciting. My first mamey for my own first tree. It's really nice. Now, technically, it's not my first mamey because I have another tree called the Key West, also Pantin, which is a very popular one. But I found the ripe fruit on the floor and kind of the bugs all over it. So that's my official first ripe one. But it all happened with, all this happened like last week. And this variety here, the Viejo and the Key West Pantin have a very similar schedule in when they're ripe. And then there's the other varieties. There's Magaña, and then there's Pace. Now, Magaña and Pace are a little different seasons, and so I wanted to complete my collection of mameys. I have this Viejo here, I have my Key West Pantin, and I also have one that I've never tried before called a pumpkin pie mamey, and that's, I don't want to use the word collector's item, but not that many people have it. It's a newer variety that people are looking for because it's a dwarf mamey tree, because these trees can grow to be quite high. As a matter of fact, I just tipped this one, and Julian at Laura Farms, his father was one of the main people that was planting mameys a long time ago, and many of these varieties came from his farm, especially one called a Pace, which is really a delicious too that I wanted to get. But he's the one that his dad was planting mamey trees in people's yards for a long time. And you can go to a lot of Spanish groceries and get mamey now, but how special it is to get one right from your own tree. So after trying this variety out, Viejo, if you're looking for a tree, this is a great variety to get. Now, I was very blessed to go down to Laura's Farms and get more varieties to complete my collection. And this one here is a Magaña. So the two most popular varieties that we have commercially now are Magaña and Pantin, which is Key West. So Magaña is usually a bigger fruit. The tree is not as big as the Key West, but they're both big trees. But those are the two most common varieties that are out now in the commercial varieties, Key West and Magaña. So this is a Magaña tree that's looking really nice. And it takes sometimes up to 8 years before you get a fruit. So that's a very long time. So we might have to be waiting a long time before we see something like that on this little tree here. That tree behind me that we just saw, I had gotten, it was already big when I got it to begin with. So that cut off a couple of years, and it's been there maybe 6 years or so, if I remember correctly. Now, I have had other varieties of mamey that didn't make it. Either I moved them too much, or for whatever reason, they died. And just two other ones, if I remember correctly. Well, this spot, I already picked this spot. It's waiting for this spot. This was my Kent mango tree. As you can see there, I took it down. I mean, Kent mango tree. I took it down because it was getting bacterial black spot. And I already have too many mangoes to begin with. And I needed a nice spot. And this is a nice big spot for this tree. And it just so happens to be right next to the Viejo behind us. Now, it is a little close right there to my jackfruit tree. But that side is all empty. And we have good spacing on these trees. So that's going to be there. And then I'll show you my other mameys. And I'm so excited. Of all the fruits, this is, I keep saying my favorite, right? But for somebody who only eats fruits and vegetables, This one to me is one of the most filling. So I got 2 of these trees here. This is the dwarf pumpkin Mamey. And this is offered by Zill's Nursery now. I don't know that many people that have tasted it, but it's a dwarf tree, as they say. So even use the words dwarf tree, I don't know how much that really means for from a Mamey standpoint, because they still get pretty tall. They just might grow slower. But this is my second pumpkin Mamey, and my first one is quite bigger. Actually much bigger, and with the rain it keeps growing. So this one is really nice. Look at that. So now something to just so you know about Mameys is, at some point the leaves fall off, and you might think the tree's dying, but it's not dying. It's just, that's what they do, and it looks like the tree's dying, but it's not necessarily dying. But this is my pumpkin Mamey that's getting quite big. I have a nice spot for that, so I'm excited about that. And finally, I got 2 pace Mameys that are in the pot still, just like the Magaña's in the pot. And you can get these Mameys at different nurseries, but I do recommend Laura Farms, LauraFarmsMiami.com for Mameys. Julian knows about the Mameys, and they have amazing selections of fruit and also the trees. But these 2 here, that one and that one, these are my pace Mameys. And so again, these are in the pots, and hopefully they'll be okay. They'll last and grow up, and I'll find a spot for them. But as you can tell, I love Mameys. They're a great fruit to have. They're a little different than the mango season, so that makes a good variety of different fruits to kind of have around. And there it is. I might, I'm going to have a decision to make later on of where to plant these when they get bigger, but that'll be a very long time from now. And I'll see how my other trees are doing and which ones I want to keep or get rid of, if at all. But this is my Viejo. I'm ready to eat it. And I learned a lot about this online. About the varieties online. So of course I want to look at the varieties I had and see how they were. And there's other good varieties out there as well. So just experiment. Now if you're buying them from the store, like I said, you're probably going to get a Magaña or a Key West / Pantin from the store. All right. If you're growing a Mamey tree, how long have you been growing for it? How long did it take you before you got fruit? Why don't you share your experience? Okay, I wanted to just come out here and show you, this is my Mamey tree, the Key West Mamey tree, this is a big tree. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to Julian at Laura Farms the other day, and I showed him how big it was, and he said, you can cut it and not keep it so high. And I don't want my trees to get so high. And I did cut this a lot, and it is still huge. So this tree's really big. Now there's a whole bunch of fruit on here, but unfortunately there's also a lot of fruit on the floor. So either me moving around, they sometimes fall off, but there's still a lot of fruit on here. It looks like all of these are going to be next year's fruit, which is fine. And I did lose some when I cut some, but I don't want the tree to get too tall, and I'm excited. There's just a whole bunch of fruit on there. My neighbor has a bunch of different varieties as well, but I'm excited about these varieties I got. And so that's my Mamey video. I hope you're all enjoying your fruit. All right, everybody, I just finished that Viejo Mamey. It was great. Now, it was interesting. The 3 parts of it was amazing. 1 part of it was so-so. So I'll have to keep an eye on that, but the part that was great was so amazing. So this is the seed. And what I like to do with my Mamey seeds is plant them and let them grow. And I have a bunch of them behind me. These are seeds of Mameys that I got from the store. And they're growing. They do not grow true to seed. So I'll have a choice. I can graft on one of these, a known variety, or I can just let this grow into its own tree and its own variety. But I got a bunch here. Some of them eventually got sunburned, but I got about maybe 10 or 15 here that I've gotten from the Mameys from the store. As you can tell, I like Mameys. I got so many. But let's see here. Look how nice this one is. So these are Mamey seedlings grown from the seed. And that's it. So when you plant this, you just pretty much put the seed in, You want to make sure you have the pointy side facing up, and you water it, and you got yourself a nice little plant there. You can let it grow to your own tree. Now remember, it's going to take maybe 8 or 9 or maybe even 10 years before you get any fruit, if you get fruit at all, depending on which seed, which variety it is or how it comes. But maybe you'll have your own variety. But I just wanted to show you that when I showed you this amazing video. All right, everybody, go out and get some Mamey if you're in South Florida. They're in the stores now. I just got some from the store the other day, and they weren't good. So that's why I was so pleased I got this one that I loved. All right, everybody, have a great day and keep growing.